Hello, I'm Simon Whistler, you're watching Top 10's Net, and in the video today, we're looking at the top 10 customized vehicles from around the world. Number 10. Decatora from Japan.
Long thought of as a homogeneous culture of cubicle drones, the Japanese can actually be as creative and weird as anyone. Decatora, an abbreviation of decoration truck, is a perfect example of how individualistic the Japanese can be. Built and owned by independent truckers, Decatora are regular trucks modified to look like the front of a Las Vegas casino, except not so boring. A tangle of lights, decals, and massive chrome fixtures, these trucks light up the Japanese highways and rest stops as their owners gather to show off their designs. No two trucks are the same, and owners take pride in making their trucks as outlandish as possible. Best of all, these trucks are actually used to transport goods.
Number 9. Tourist buses from Thailand.
Like Decatora in Japan, Thai tourist buses are riots of color and design. Custom painted by professionals who devote their lives to the art, these buses cruise around Thailand decorated with millions of different designs and images. From Disney characters to Japanese anime scenes, nothing is too outlandish or colorful to be masterly rendered on the side of a bus. In fact, the custom-painted buses are so widespread that the only kind of bus that would stand out on the streets of Bangkok is one with a regular paint job. In the tourist bus industry, garish colors and giant cartoon characters are the norm.
Number 8. Choppers from the USA.
At the end of World War II, millions of returning GIs found themselves back home with a thirst for excitement that post-war life couldn't satisfy. Many of them purchased motorcycles to enjoy the speed and freedom of the open road, but found the factory versions bulky and full of unnecessary parts. Putting the skills Uncle Sam had taught them to a peaceful use, they modified and chopped their bikes to make them leaner and faster. Over the next 20 years, the art developed and a huge subculture was born. Although choppers largely faded from the public eye over the years, they saw a resurgence in the 2000s with shows like American Chopper and brands like West Coast Choppers marketing the customized bikes to a new generation. Highly modified, dangerous, and loud, perhaps no other custom vehicle better symbolizes the USA, which is lucky because that's the only country in the world where you can legally drive one.
Number 7. Itasha from Japan.
Let's say you finally have enough money and power to buy that Italian sports car you've always dreamed of. A masterpiece of automotive engineering and raw power, it looks just as cool as it feels. Obviously, the first thing you're going to do is run out and blow a whole bunch more money to have a sexy cartoon character painted on it, right? Strange as that may seem for a group of car enthusiasts in Japan, that's exactly what they do. Known as Itachi, which means pain car, pain for painfully embarrassing or painful on the wallet we assume, these cars are primarily owned, operated, and shown off by guys whose love for performance vehicles is matched only by their desire to make love to a cartoon. Although the Itasha are starting to be seen in actual races and sponsored by actual companies, it's still largely a labor of love for the men who devote a sizable chunk of their paychecks to letting the world know just how much they love that cartoon schoolgirl with the pink hair. No amount of money is too much.
Number 6. Lowriders from the USA.
Although they've come to be associated with West Coast hip-hop culture in recent years, lowriders have always been an integral part of Chicano culture. First built by Mexican Americans as far back as the 30s, lowriders and the culture around them developed and flourished during the post-war boom. Like the ex-soldiers who cut up their choppers, lowrider enthusiasts heavily modified their cars to ride as low as possible. After first using sandbags and cinder blocks, they moved to actually cutting and shortening their cars. The goal was to be as low and slow as possible. One of the most famous lowrider modifications, hydraulics, was actually done as a response to a punitive law enacted by the state of California. Not pleased to have a bunch of what they saw as undesirables driving low and slow through their neighborhoods, the state made it illegal to have any part of a car lower than its rims. To get around the law, one enterprising customer took some pumps from an old B-52 bomber and invented a system where he could raise or lower his car, depending on whether the cops were around.
Number 5. Mod scooters from the UK.
The swinging 60s may have produced a lot of great music, but at its heart it was all about style. From the James Bond dinner jackets to the Emma Peel catsuits, the secret mission in the 1960s was to look as cool as humanly possible and to spare no expense doing it. One of the more popular subcultures at the time, the mods, expressed their undying love of fashion in their motor scooters. Although they were largely working-class kids, mods were influenced by Italian culture and fashion and loved the cheap, sleek Vespa and Lambretta scooters. Once they got them, they heavily modified their exteriors, especially the mirrors and lights. Not content to limit themselves to just 2 mirrors or 1 light, some mods crammed as many rear-view mirrors and headlights as they could on their scooters. Never before or since in the history of motor vehicles has being safe been so cool.
Number 4. Jingle trucks from Central Asia.
Though the name may sound silly and even maybe a little bit offensive, jingle trucks are nothing to laugh at. These heavily adorned commercial vehicles are common throughout Central Asia, but the most elaborate are found in Afghanistan, India, and Pakistan. Covered in colourful paintings of houses, animals, vehicles, and landscapes, the jingle trucks are amazing to look at. Despite a common look, each truck is unique and meant to be a reflection of the owner's tastes and personality. One image common to most trucks is a human eye, meant to ward off evil spirits. But what sets the jingle trucks apart from other custom vehicles and gives them their name is, of course, the jingling. To get the signature sound, jingle trucks' bumpers are decorated with long chains and charms hanging like curtains. In the harsh Afghan winds, these chain curtains act as wind chimes, letting everyone know a jingle truck is approaching. That's if they haven't yet seen the giant painted eye staring at them.
Number 3. Jeepneys from the Philippines.
Originally built on the husks of surplus and worn-out US Army Jeeps, jeepneys are a great example of how one man's trash is another man's treasure. When the US Army withdrew from the Philippines after World War II, they sold or gave hundreds of their surplus Jeeps to the locals. Happy to have a vehicle, but not so happy to have one designed for transporting soldiers, the Filipinos stripped the Jeeps, extended the cabs, added roofs, and painted over the boring army green with all kinds of bright colors. The resulting vehicles were way more fun to look at and served a vital role in re-establishing public transportation in a country still trying to rebuild after years of occupation. They became a part of the culture and still exist today, although they aren't built from old army Jeeps anymore. Some manufacturers have even started to build e-jeepneys, jeepneys that run on electricity. The jeepneys of the future will help to ensure that the streets of the Philippines will never be drab, even after the oil runs out.
Number 2. Customized vans from the USA.
Does anything say the 70s quite like a customized boogie van? Although they first came to prominence among hippies and surfers in the 60s, custom vans really came into their cheesy own after 1970. Inside, they were mobile living masterpieces of shag carpeting, strobe lights, and if you were really lucky, a mini fridge full of cold brews and panty peeler. Outside, they were low-culture tributes to the heroes of the day. Every sci-fi and fantasy character from Conan to C-3PO was immortalized in airbrushed glory for all to see. Custom van culture combined the freewheeling nomadism of the 60s with the do-anything-to-feel-good hedonism of the 70s. Moving fortresses of comfort, they cruised the streets and beaches, bringing all the comforts of home anywhere there was a pavement.
Number 1. Custom rickshaws from India and Bangladesh.
The only human-powered vehicles on the list, the custom rickshaws of India, prove that just because your vehicle doesn't have an engine doesn't mean you can't trick it out. Although their use has largely faded in other parts of the world, rickshaws remain a common form of transportation in many cities in India and Bangladesh. Used as a cheap way to get around, rickshaws are an integral part of the transportation system. But what makes them great is the art. Covered in oil paintings that depict everything from movie stars to products to political commentary, they reflect the owner's opinions and feelings while giving other people on the road something very cool to look at. In the past, elites looked down on the paintings as gauche examples of low-class culture, but recently artists and scholars have started to take them seriously as an art form. All of this, and they're environmentally friendly.
So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up below and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, check out some of our other videos on the right. Leave us a comment below to let us know what you think, and thank you for watching.